This is the 2025 Sea to Summit Athletes Meeting. I'm Kathleen Walker. And this Andy Shirting, he's not going to speak.
Still.
And Andy Shirting with New England Endurance Events. We are going to go over some musts for Sea to Summit. We'll also go over some course details for those that haven't raced with us before. And then at the end, we will have any question and answers. Throughout this, if you're about to ask a question, throw it in chat. You can also look at the athlete's guide, which Andy has done a great job of adding in everything he could possibly think of, all the different stuff that's come up over the years. All of that is in the athlete's guide, but we're here to also answer any questions for you. All right. Go ahead.
I'm just wondering, can everybody see just the logo, New England Endurance Events, or do you see just us, or do you see some participant?
All right, so we're right here.
You could chat us.
Just you guys.
I can see just you guys.
Just us.
Just us.
Okay.
Excellent. All right, glad to hear that. Okay, all right, so
Just set her mind at ease.
yeah, so we're recording this and but we're recording on like a different device and so forth. So hopefully if you guys in the recording, you'll actually see us if you guys are going back to look at it. All right, or any of your porters. So everyone that's on, thank you guys very much for being on. And then anyone who is not, or whose porter isn't, or somebody else that's going to be helping with the race beyond the porter, please have them go to our YouTube channel. This will be posted tomorrow, so that way they'll be able to see, and hear everything that you guys have. All right, you guys ready for a share? Are you ready for a share?
Okay, let's go.
All right, so easy enough. We're going to start right off with the most important information. If you have not registered your porter or asked your porter to register, given them a link, please do so by Wednesday. That's when we start putting all of that information together. And we actually, old school, we print everything out and bring it with us. So it's really important we already have that information beforehand. So I appreciate you guys doing that. USAT memberships, there's only like 8 of you that still haven't done a USAT membership online. So thank you for the 8 of you that are there. If your USAT number isn't going through, you'd know that because you're receiving emails from us saying, please add your USAT number. It might be just a matter of transposed letters, your name or numbers in your date of birth or something like that, but please take care of that beforehand. Friday pack and pickup, that is mandatory for both athletes and porters. And then Andy's going to talk to you a bit a little later on, which is also in the athlete's guide, about competitors staying off of Route 16 and Route 4, and then porters. There's an area of the most used bike route that is also off limits. So that's
Just the
Route
porters.
153. Right, athletes go there, porters can't. So Andy will also talk about that a little bit later on.
Okay, if I can add to that too.
Sure, go ahead.
Please read the athlete's guide. I know that sounds a little silly, but we have had situations where before the race, I'm chatting with an athlete and I mentioned something that was in the athlete's guide and the athlete says, "What athlete's guide?" So hopefully everyone listening knows there's an athlete's guide, knows how to get there, knows how to review it, and knows how to check it later this week for updates that we'll put to it. And we'll put those updates in like bright green or blue or a different color from the rest of the athlete's guide so that you notice it and you can see it.
All right. So make it easy. There you go, Andy. Athlete's guide. So if it's easy for you, just hit your phone. You've got your athlete's guide right there. And then I know the schedule is in the athlete's guide as well. But to just go over that quickly, Wednesday, Andy and I will be up at Spring Hill. We will take the water temperature. We'll also do a water quality test. That pond has never failed any water quality test ever. So shouldn't be a problem at all, but the water temp will be important if you plan on wearing a wetsuit. We have, I think, only Have we had one year that it was not wetsuit legal?
That's true. We did. Now, not wetsuit legal doesn't mean you can't wear a wetsuit. It just means that you will not be eligible for awards. Most of you, I'm sure, have done plenty of USAT or Ironman races, and you kind of know the routine on the wetsuit thing.
Right.
The water, we test a lot of water for our various events. Nothing comes close to this particular freshwater
To the cleanliness
pond
of
as
this
far
pond.
as cleanliness goes. It's unreal.
It's
But
always great. All right, and then we will be traveling the most traveled bike route on Thursday. So if there's anything along that route that you should be aware of, sometimes there's construction or kind of really rough road in certain spots. We will let you know that. We'll put it on Facebook. We'll put it in the athlete's guide. There's that Friday pickup 4 to 6. Feel free to come and take a swim if you want to check out the water. And then race day, pretty basic stuff there. Transition opens at 4 a.m. I know that's early. And the race will actually start at 5:30. Award ceremony 2:30, and then food service. So we have that. So that's I've gotten big letters taco bar, because in the athlete's guide it says burger bar. But that was last year. So we missed that one in the athlete's guide. I want to make sure that we set the expectation. The taco bar is going to be great, all different options. But if you get your taste buds going as you're climbing up the mountain, we want you to be thinking taco bar.
and for some of our generally older athletes, but not necessarily, the 2:30 award ceremony will, for some later finishers, later in the afternoon, we'll have a kind of a follow-up award ceremony for them. But you have to understand, there's some people who will be finished in 7 hours. That means they're going to be wanting to go back to the hotel and taking a shower at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So
thanks for letting us know there's more in the waiting room, and there you go, they're in. So I think what we did last year, and it seemed to work pretty well, to Andy's point with the award ceremony, we actually kind of did it several times. Our plan was just to do 2:30 and then maybe another one at 4. But you guys are going to be awfully tired. You come to get something to eat. You're like, I don't want to wait around an hour to get my award. So if that's the case, it's not a problem. We completely understand. We'll present your award. We'll take some photos of you. Everybody that is there will clap for you, and you'll get, you get some nice accolades that way. All right. Oops. All right, porters. This is for you. One official porter per athlete. That doesn't mean you can't have more people that are coming with you. It's just there's one official. That's the one whose phone number we have in case we can't find you. Or there's an issue. That porter has my number, Maureen's number. We have a number of numbers. Anybody else, it is you can purchase a food ticket, and you can get extra t-shirts. So that way everyone that's coming for you, athlete, has something special. Check-in Friday night is mandatory for porters as well. As I've mentioned before, we're also adding your athlete's race number to your car. We put it in the front, we put it on the back, sometimes we put it on the side, some things that way we can identify that car as is traveling on the road. So a couple of reasons for that. If we see a car moving and an athlete getting something from that one of the passengers or the driver in the car as the athlete's moving through, then the athlete's going to be penalized for that. You have to actually stop on the side of the road, hand your athlete something outside of the vehicle. If you're also
if you get excited watching the Tour de France the last 2 weeks, no, you can't do that with your team car.
Right. Also, if you're found on that stretch of 153, which Andy will talk about in a little bit, if your car is found over there, but you are not going to rescue your athlete that maybe had a flat tire, then your athlete is penalized for that. So we're gonna put your numbers on. T1 responsibilities for you. That means once your athlete is finished swimming and has transitioned and they're off on the bike, you're going to collect everything from that transition area. You're going to stay out of the way of other athletes that are still going out. And then you're going to get in your car and wait a second for one of our staff or volunteers to tell you when it's safe for you to go out of the parking lot without being in the way of another athlete. So that's your first responsibilities are right there, besides doing whatever your athlete needs. We do not want you following your athlete as your athlete is riding down the road. So another reason to have your number on your car. At T2, your job, usually we say once the athlete has reached the Christmas
Storyland.
storyline.
I'd say, you know, if you've been following your athlete through Conway and North Conway, as you probably know, most athletes, just from studying the course map, most athletes take kind of like the back way in, so they stay off the main route. You'll go by when you hit 16 heading up into the mountain, Storyland, and that's a kind of a good spot for the porters to head on up to Wildcat. I suppose also you can maybe stop at one of the turnoffs, but there sometimes is a list, particularly in the middle of the field.
There's a
line.
line.
There's a line.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more in a little bit. But so your job is to get to T2 before your athlete. Bring us your athlete's backpack. If you're climbing with your athlete, we need your backpack as well. And we will make sure that there's everything in there that we have put in the athlete's guide. And then when your athlete comes, your athlete's ready to go. You don't want your athlete having to wait for you because you're sitting in line trying to get their backpack approved. Remember your athletes, you're gonna go, when you come to check in, you're stopping at our medical table, and Dr. Heidi will check you over, make sure that you're good enough to go on the climb. But so for the porters, once you've done that, your athlete has gone off on the run, you're then going to take the auto road up to the summit. So we'll show you that in a minute. You may end up making a right out of Wildcat, and then of course join us for tacos at Wildcat.
Some questions have come in. Don't worry, we will answer them. And if as we continue, you have some questions, please enter them into the chat, and we'll run through that later. All right, transition.
All right, so transition. So I was telling the porters that you're going to be gathering all of the stuff for your athletes. The transition area is going to be right in this part of the parking lot. So we will have that coned off. And so porters, you'll get your stuff. You'll get all your athletes' things, and you'll get your car, and off you go. This is the swim. We'll show you a little more about the pond in a minute, but wanted to show you this hill that goes right up to the transition area right here. Porters, there's another location if not everyone wants to climb down that hill because it's kind of steep coming back up. This is actually a great spot to be able to see over. You can see the pond from here if you wish, but transition area over here, everyone's going to leave this way. Friday night, we will have our trailer will be parked over in this area as well. So you'll just come right to there. All right, do you want to talk about this one?
Okay, to get our 1.2 miles, we do 2 loops. You do not have to leave the water for the second loop. You'll be going around a buoy, and there'll be a staff just watching to make sure everybody makes their second loop, which I'm sure you all will. So it works out for a triangular course. There will be multiple buoys on those legs. It's not just that we plant 2 buoys out there and you've got to go find them, but there are provisions and adjustments we are prepared to make in case of foggy conditions. And like most races, we also have a thunderstorm protocol, and we can delay the race for a certain period of time, but obviously not too long because it's a long day. So that's our situation there.
All right, so we also will have pickle juice available. You can see where we start at T2. Hermit Lake, there's a limited supply because someone's having to bring those up, hike up to Hermit Lake as we have staff there, but there will be some available, as well as salt tablets. Those
At the
good.
top too.
Do you want some at the top? Yeah, you could.
I think it might be a good idea
Okay.
if someone's, starting to slip a little.
Okay. But we also have salt tablets. It's not only members of our staff that's out on the course, but it's also the Northeast
Mountaineering
Mountaineering. There you
guides.
go.
Yeah, we have a variety of professional mountain guides who know Mount Washington like the back of their hand up there, as well as staff at various points. But there's no aid station per se, like you might have you'd see at a Lake Placid this morning or something along those lines. This is you bring your calories, you bring your hydration. There is a water pump halfway up, but we'll talk more about that.
All right, so so we're still on the bike course. Andy, do you want to just talk about that overview?
Well, the athlete's guide goes into the most commonly followed route in more detail, but this is the one that most athletes have followed, but not all. And you are allowed to change bikes as needed, whether it be mechanical or it be some people prefer to have a road bike for the final climb. We're talking about 6,000 feet in elevation. So, but then there's others who say, no, my TT bike is just fine. But we'll talk a little bit more about this as we go along.
Okay, so if you're switching bikes, you need to be able to transfer your bike number. We only give you one bike number. So you need to be able to transfer that from one bike to the other. So if you have a bike number plate, those little plastic plates that you can attach to your bike, that would be good to bring. Some people have taken a piece of cardboard and cut it like around a typical size of a bike number, and brought that so they can put the bike number on the post and then use zip ties. So whatever you need, however creative you want to be, your bike number is going to have to transfer if you have more than one bike.
A couple of things also while we're talking about the bike. Many of you have tail lights on your bike that you use in your training, and we're perfectly fine with that. We do want every bike to have a tail light of some sort. So we have tail lights that we can give you at packet pickup for your bike. They're not as bright as the new, the Garmin product, but they're not bad. Also, we'll have in the transition area and out on the course motor detection devices. Once again, this is not something we'd ever expect to come across, and hope we never will, but just to make sure we have a level playing field. There's a little bit of status to winning this race, and we do have pros every year who race, and so we do amp up our vigilance on that, as well as also on drafting, blocking, and other infractions on the road.
Okay. So Andy, do you want to talk about the start of the race or the start of the bike, excuse me, and your suggestion for kind of avoiding South Berwick?
Yeah, coming out on the bike, generally speaking, we don't say you have to go here. And we're not saying, even with this map, you have to go here, but we suggest it because it keeps you out of the village of South Berwick. And so you'll notice it as you look over the maps yourself, but you'll come out of Spring Hill, you'll make you head out to Route 4. You jump on Route 4 for 100 yards south, and it's the only part of Route 4 we want to have cyclists on. Not too far away from here, there's a stretch of Route 4 where the speed limit's 55 miles an hour, and there's not much of a shoulder. And so because of that, we say no Route 4 and no Route 16 for some somewhat obvious reasons. But there's that Blackberry Hill Road, it's a right turn. It makes a sharp left, but it still is Blackberry Hill Road. And that's around the 3 mile mark. and then it takes you into the town of Berwick, and you go from there.
All right. Thank you. All right, so Porters, here's the area that you cannot be on. So if you can avoid it, Andrew, do you want to talk about how that?
Yeah, with negotiations with the town of Eaton over the years, we hit upon this plan where the cyclists can move through this stretch. It's a narrow road, it's a curvy road, not necessarily hilly. And it just becomes too much. It's also a road that's heavily used. Well, I shouldn't say heavily, but there's a good number of people pulling RVs, people on motorcycles for the weekend. They say, "Why drive on Route 16? Let's take this pretty road that goes by all these lakes and ponds and through the little village of Eaton." So because of that, Porters, you're on 25, or you actually a great place to meet your athlete or to check in on your athlete is the parking lot right before you get on Route 25. And then from there, I would suggest heading on 25 all the way to 16 and take 16 up into Conway. And there you can wait for your athlete, whether it be at the Covered Bridge, the VFW Center, or, there's plenty of places there that you can keep up with your athlete. We will have vehicles on this restricted section so that if an athlete has a mechanical, like, oh, this is trouble, there's someone to help. And also Porters are allowed to enter into this area if they do have an athlete with a verifiable difficult situation that needs to be dealt with.
Right, not, oh, they need a little nutrition or hydration. You gotta
Right.
do that beforehand. All right. All right, so when you're finishing your bike, you're coming into Wildcat, you can see you're coming from that left part of the screen. Here, this is Route 16, and then Wildcat comes in right up here. So this is where our transition will be. You'll get a better picture of that in just a sec. And then once you've made that transition, you've had your medical check and you're off on your run. I'm going to make sure to show you, you're coming right back here where you pass Pecan Notch Visitor Center. That's where you're going to go in to Tuckerman's Trail. Anything else?
Yeah, if I can say, at this point, everybody has race brain out there. Please be careful crossing 16. There's plenty of gaps where safe gaps where you can cross 16 because there's no traffic coming in either direction. But please just, do the 3 or 4 looks just to make sure you're good before you cross at the appropriate place to get on the other side of the road.
All right, so I promised you guys a better view of Wildcat. So athletes, you're coming up here, you're gonna bike in here. There is always, we do sweep, but there's always some kind of gravel and sand as you come down. It's like a little slope down there. So, and then that parking lot is completely gravel. So be careful going in. We don't have a dismount line or sign. You just dismount once you get towards your Porter's car or at whatever point you feel that it's safe. Porters, you're going to end up all over this area, please. We will have our vehicle that's going to be over here. There'll be a check-in. It's not really a tent. It's more like a check-in Winnebago. And there will be the medical table there with our doctor that will check you over. Your porter has already brought us your backpack and any other backpack of people that are going up with you. That's already been checked. All you have to do is come check in at the medical tent, and then you'll be able to find the spot that you like to be able to get over on the road and cross over. Porters, once your athlete is all set and is off on the run, you're going to go this other way. You're going to go right out of Wildcat, and that's the auto road is down that way.
Okay.
Anything else, sir?
Yeah. Athletes are allowed to visit their porter's vehicle at any point in the race, but if you're in the vehicle and the vehicle is moving, you're going to be disqualified. So that doesn't just mean here at Wildcat, it also means at various places along the route, the bike route, where you've stopped to check in with the porter or to pick up some nutrition or what have you. So that's allowed as well. I think I might have mentioned earlier, we're gonna strictly enforce the USAT no drafting rule. Keep in mind that the distance between bikes has been increased by both USAT and Ironman as well. And follow all the rules of the road as if you would on a recreational ride. You may even see some sheriffs or some police along the way. They're aware of the event, but that doesn't mean that, oh, I can blow through this intersection and probably problems with the enforcement authorities if you did.
Or cars.
Well,
That's
yeah.
You might get hit by a car. Please don't do that. All right, so another question that usually comes up is the Wildcat building there, the bathrooms will be open. They get there at around 10:30 or 11, so most of you won't be there much. Oh, sorry, take that back. Because first athletes will be coming through here probably around 10:30. The bathrooms will be open for them, so you better actually go in a building and have nice clean bathrooms. Although you'll have to walk down the stairs to get there. That's also where the after party is in this building right here.
And if for some reason you missed that restroom, there's fully operational, plenty of restrooms at the Pinkham Notch Visitor Center.
Correct. All right, so some of the biggest questions that we get is about these backpacks. I just put any old backpack up there. That's not the one you have to have by any means. They're usually much smaller than that, but you do have to have one. Porters, you're gonna come bring that to me or some of our other staff members well in advance of your athlete coming, so that way your athlete isn't waiting for you. And everything that is on that list that we put in the athlete's guide, all of that is mandatory, including a first aid kit, the bandages that I have here. That's probably one of the big ones, the ACE bandage. It should be an ACE bandage, something that would help you if you were to sprain your ankle. So the idea of putting things in there are for, is for your benefit. So, a real ACE bandage would be great rather than some of that tape stuff. 20 to 30 minutes, we do end up with kind of a big group that we end up getting somewhere. It's probably ends up being around 11:30. We end up with like 30 people in line. So if you've been on the race course with like all the other porters, like your whole day, then they're probably all going to end up at T2 about the same time you do. So, so you might want to get to T2 just a little earlier, as Andy was talking about Storyland, like when your athlete hits Storyland, go ahead and come on up, so that way your athlete's not waiting for you. All right, was something else?
As far as that goes, we can talk about the run. Are you going to the run next?
Yes, that's exactly where I'm
okay.
going. Yeah, and then we have lots of questions because this is almost the last share that we have.
I don't know if that's scary enough looking, but it looks good to me. Yeah, we have a waiting room. Okay, let's get that. So from Wildcat, you're heading back down 16 to Pinkham Notch. You're gonna see a parking lot just chock full of cars, especially on a nice day in summer. And that's one thing we should mention, that you're going to be sharing this trail. Tuckerman Ravine Trail is your only way up the mountain, because we can't keep track of people all over on the other. There are some other trails that kind of head in the same direction, but stay on Tuckerman Ravine. It's very well signed, and work your way up there. Then there's signs for Tuckerman's Ravine for the trail. And it's about a 4.5 mile journey from Pinkham Notch to the finish, but the last couple of miles are tough. And actually the first.
No, the last 0.2 of a mile, that's the toughest
much
part,
more
right?
than that. No, well, you got the head wall too.
True.
So I think you've got that. Your porter, if it is running with you, here's the deal. As Kathleen mentioned, they also have to have a backpack with the exact same items that you have in your backpack. And if your porter is having trouble keeping up with you, you need to keep in mind that your time isn't taken when you finish. If you're bringing a porter with you, your time is taken when you and your porter have both finished. Because we had a situation a number of years ago where we found that some athletes were just kind of like leaving their porter on the head wall and then going up, and the porter would show up an hour or so later
And not
that
be
was just
well.
and not be well. Yeah. So porter does have an option though. At Hermit Lake, we have staff there. It's a check-in point, and your porter can tell the staff, okay, I've been with my athlete, but I'm done. And then turn around and walk back down the trail, so that there's an option there that you can follow.
Okay. All right, there's that athlete's guide again. All right, I'm gonna take this off of share so that way we can answer some questions.
Oh, I want to bring up one more thing.
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
There is a relatively new piece of technology that we'll be testing at this event. It's a satellite tracking device, but we're going to test it, and we're working with the company that has implemented this technology. And we're looking for 3 athletes to take this device. It's small, it's the size of a cell phone, maybe a little bit larger than that. And you would put it, you'll have it with you on the bike, and you'll have it in your backpack. Actually, it has to be on top of your backpack for the run. And we're looking for 3 volunteers for that so that we can see how well this works and see if we can implement it for all the participants next year. So we're looking for someone who thinks they'll be among the leaders, and that's around 7.5 hours. We're looking for someone in the middle, around 9 hours. And we're looking for an athlete who expects, I'm going to do this thing, but I'm not. I might be one of the last ones. That might be somewhere in the 10.5, 11-hour range. But I know for those who have not done the race, that's hard to predict in advance. But please email more Beth Ann at any events.
I'll put that in the chat.
Yeah, put that in the chat, and then we may not. We'll probably get more than 3. I hope we get more than 3 people, but we'll then look at your qualification standards to see, looks like that person fits the bill, and we're looking forward to testing that at this race, and we appreciate your assistance with that. Did you want to talk about abandonment at all before you get to questions?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I mean, a good thing. So every year there's always going to be a few athletes that it's just not their day. All the training that you put in, and you had a flat that you just weren't able to recover from, or what have you. So if that happens, we need to know, because otherwise we're going to go on a hunt for you. So your porter needs to contact me. You will get the porters. You're going to get a sheet on Friday, and it has basic information, including that one section you're not allowed on. But it will have my number. It will have one of my satellite phone number. It will have several numbers. So text or call one of those numbers to say, hey, we dropped out number 52 or whatever it is. So that way we know, so we're not worried about you somewhere in the 90 plus miles from swim to T2. That's usually where where the dropouts happen. So just let us know. We appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, are you ready? So let's answer some questions. I think some things might have been answered along the way, but let's give it a try. So actually, let me start way at the top. So thank you guys all for telling us that you're there and all that. Let's see. Team cars allowed on Effingham to Conway section if my athlete has a flat. I think Andy kind of answered that, or you did answer, but I'm going to say it again because there might have been some that came on. If your athlete has a flat, and a lot of you will carry your phones with you, right? So you'll tell your porter, just ask your porter to call the number I was just telling you about on the sheet to say, hey, I'm going in. So my athletes had a flat, and I'm going there, because we do have staff that are going through that area, and if they see a car there, they're gonna go, hey, what's this car doing in, over in Effingham? And so that we can say, oh, no problem at all, that athlete had a flat, or whatever the issue is.
Well, I understand why, for this race where you have a porter, why not be able to just do a quick wheel change or even a bike change instead of necessarily having to get out the tire levers and the CO2 cartridges and all that sort of thing. So, as long as there's a legitimate reason to go in there, please, go in there. But we don't want try to avoid that tendency to want to, for porters to follow your athlete, because that gives your athlete just like a comfort level to know that the car is behind them. And by the way, don't just stick behind your athlete, porters. Get ahead of the athlete and then find usually it's a prearranged spot where you're going to stop and wait. And we put in the athlete's guide some of the common places where porters like to stop and wait for their athletes. I did get an email from one of the athletes who said that they were thinking that they would meet their porter at about mile 50, and that would be it for the event. I'm not sure if that's a great idea. And so on the other hand, you don't want to meet the porter every 5 or 6 miles, or meet your athlete every 5 or 6 miles. So you guys will come up with a plan. You're all accomplished athletes by virtue of the fact that you qualified for this, and you'll work it out. And we have confidence in you.
So would an option be, let's say if the plan is only every 50 miles, that the porter is somewhere along the way, sees the athlete puts up your hand, yep, here I go, I'm still going, I don't need to stop. But at least you've laid eyes on your athlete in between those 50 miles, because it ends up being a really long 50 miles when you really needed something and your porter is already way ahead of you.
And it doesn't have to be a nutrition stop. Yeah,
Right.
You could just go right by.
Yeah, just make sure they see you, right?
Yeah.
All right, so John asked if you have 2 porters. Remember, there's only one official porter, which is the one that should be in the car, because they're the ones, that's the phone number that we have, or that's the plan. So you've got your official porter in the car. Can somebody else be biking on the course with the athlete? Or
Biking on the course with the athlete no, I'm sorry, we can't do that. The roads are congested enough.
Yeah. Okay. So Michael asked about the relay team. It's a great question, Michael. So if you're a relay team, I'm assuming you can porter for each other. That's exactly the plan. You're each other's porter. You don't need to register a porter. It's just the 3 of you or the 2 of you as a relay team, and you porter each other. All right. The auto road is on your own. So yes, you do have to pay to go up. And I don't know what that cost is this year, but you can buy a ticket, I believe, online before you go, which might be a little cheaper. Also, all the area hotels have discounts. They usually have $5 or $10 off to go up the mountain. Can the bike be left at Wildcat? Because we come back here, I'm confused by that one, Blink.
I think that what that means is perhaps leave the bike in the parking lot while the porter goes up the mountain and then comes down the mountain. Do you feel comfortable with having a bicycle like in the parking lot, maybe near race vehicles?
I think my confusion is usually like your porter would have taken a car up there, and so usually the bikes will be put back in the car or on the car, and then you'll go up. If you're hiking up with your porter, your car, lock your car, it will be fine there. So if that doesn't answer your question, put something else in chat and we'll try again.
Yeah, if I can add something there, and often the athletes understand this race and they've done the research, they've done the reading, and they're wonderful. Sometimes the porters do not understand as well. And one thing I'll mention, and it's important for the athletes as well as the porters, is the weather conditions at the top of the mountain could be completely different than what you see at the bottom. And porters, if you're going to be up there and stand next to me waiting for a person to come in. I've had people just shivering and shivering because they didn't bring enough clothes. I think, tonight it's gonna be like 30 degrees up there, and often the temperature difference is 20 degrees, and the wind is, I think, the wind is around 30 miles an hour too right now.
Yeah, quite cold.
And that's not bad. So that's just for everyone to be aware of that situation up
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Not to scare you, but yeah.
When Andy and I have gone up, you athletes, you go up and you're hot, obviously, because you've been working really hard, and you go up, there's people wearing parkas. So, so there's definitely, bring more clothes, porters. All right, so the question Jake had was about relay teams again. So, so different relay team. That handoff is either in transition. Oh, it's in transition no matter what you do, right? So T1 transition, the relay team member that was swimming goes all the way up the hill, comes to the rack, then the bike relay team member can then take off. The relay team member that is doing a run needs to wait until the bike is back, the athlete is back, and then they need to go to a medical check. I realize that you think, why do you need to go to medical check? But we have to check everybody off. If you didn't stop at the medical table and get confirmed that you are fine, then you've been disqualified because we assume that you didn't continue. So you, even with the relay team, stop there and just say, hey, I'm a relay team member. I haven't done anything yet. And that's fine. We just need to be able to mark you down.
Did you do this one?
Let's see.
Yeah,
Same route as last year. No, I didn't.
Okay, once again, there is no set route, but there is a most often followed route. That's what's in the athlete's guide. It has stayed consistent for the last number of years. Trying to think how many since we did the last switch of the swim. The swim was in a river, also in South Berwick, and the water quality just of the river started to concern us, and so we stopped the swim there and moved it over here. So as long as you're not going too far back, in whether you're looking at Garmin, Map My Ride, Ride with GPS, whatever it is you're looking at, the last few years, that is probably a route that someone has posted up there, which was their route when they went up to the top.
Yeah, Eric Wheeler, I think, has he's got something on.
There's Strava segments and everything.
Yeah.
So wherever you like to look, I'm sure you'll find something, but make sure it's relatively recent. I guess since COVID, because we've been here.
You're right. Yeah,
since
we've been here
COVID.
since, yeah. So there's a few, but I think Eric's
Yeah.
put his up. So if you look for Eric Wheeler, you should find his. All right, so another question about the porters. So porters, I was talking about having the number on the bike. That's, I mean, the athlete's number on your car, like on the window, it's really for the bike. It's not, we don't care what car you take up to the auto road. That's completely up to you. We're not going to check anything in the parking lot. Having your number on the car is just for the bike route, and coming into T2, we found that to be useful. All right.
Okay.
Good luck.
So someone's already spotted and eaten a little bit of road construction, and we're going to find out that for ourselves on Thursday.
So if you go to their town of Eastham, of Eaton website, that traffic road work was supposed to be done on the 18th.
Oh, it's supposed to be done Friday. That's right.
Yeah.
The sheriff told me about that, but
So it should be.
Hopefully it'll be done.
Yeah, and we're gonna go up there on Thursday, and
But if
we do the whole route.
If not, be careful.
Yeah, we'll give you some kind of something before that.
On the first aid kit, we have itemized certain things that have to be, such as the ACE bandage. But generally speaking, if you go to REI and pick up a backpacker's
Like just a
kit,
little one. It doesn't have to be big.
yeah, it can be tiny. It's just that you want to have something. We do have an EMT up at the top. We have a doctor position, a wilderness position at the bottom. There are complete medical good size. We have 2 medical kits, but also there's medical kits at the bottom. At Pinkham Notch, there's one halfway up at Hermit Lodge, and there's almost like a complete suite at the summit. We've got the medical angle pretty well covered, but it's good for you to have something there because it's
In
only
between.
it's only 5 miles, but it's the longest 5 miles.
Right.
It takes a while to get from one point to another. So
Right. So, so another question about, backpack. Yes, Robin, absolutely. Most people will have a backpack that has, the hydration pack in it. I just need to know how many ounces that is, and then just put all your other stuff, in that backpack. Often I see, and I wish I had the brand of it because I see some that are really, really neat. They're nylon and they kind of go down into like next to nothing and you can stuff everything in there. I do go in, it's myself and our assistant race directors do go into the packs to make sure you have everything you need, but we've done a pretty good job over the years of putting everything back how you had it. So, so we will be going through it, but just pack that all you can. My fingers are really good at finding all sorts of stuff that's supposed to be in there. All right, so then Kendra asked about exactly where is that no porter zone in along 150.
yeah, so the athletes are on 153 as they go through Milton, Union, Wakefield, Effingham. And Adventure 153 hits Route 25. There, it's a left turn. It's actually onto 25, and it is in state speak. It's 25 and 153 for a short quarter-mile stretch that goes to Effingham Falls, where you make a right turn. And you can even make a right turn a little bit earlier onto a road that will connect to 153.
You want me to share it?
But it's at, sure.
Let me share it.
It's
Okay.
at that junction where you're leaving
There
the
you go.
cyclists are leaving 25 and they're going on 153, which now becomes its own road. It doesn't share a number with 25.
Yes.
That's the point where
There you
we
go.
prefer you not to be,
But it's more than
strongly
prefer.
prefer you. It's
Your athlete will be penalized if you're on.
Yeah.
So it's more than.
And so, so our suggestion for the porters is that they continue on 25 down to 16 and take 16 up to Conway, the intersection of Conway of 16 and 153. And then hopefully you have a prearranged location, but if not, there's there's on the street parking up there. You could park and wait. So.
Okay, so I think that there's probably a few people who are like, well, that seems unfair that we can't go on that, but for anyone who has raced with us before last year, we'll know that that one section, as Andy was saying before, it's windy, it's narrow, it's very pretty, but there's already cars there just because people are traveling that way instead of taking 16. When we add 100 of our own cars, all the porter cars, it becomes a little traffic jam, which is not safe for the athletes. So our whole reason for keeping the porters off of there is so that way you athletes are safe. So if you can stress that to your porter, that would be really helpful.
Yeah, and the town of Eaton was thrilled.
Oh.
They started getting a little antsy about it. It was actually, I think what they were more antsy about was there was a very nice beach along a lake where the porters would wait for the athletes, and that seemed to work for decades. And then all of a sudden, it was like, what are they doing in our parking lot? So there's and one year, I think the police got so antsy about it that they just posted an officer at one of the stop signs. And how many citations did he write for running, for not coming to a complete stop?
Yeah,
but that's a word to the porters. You have to also follow all the rules on the road, and please do, because it reflects on the race.
Yeah, I think it helped their town budget that year.
Thousands of
much
dollars
money.
they got.
So so you're gonna stay off that road anyway, so you won't have to worry about that one spot. All right, Brandon also asked another question about non-porters hiking. You are welcome to take other people up on the mountain with you, as Andy had mentioned before, though. If they start with you and they don't turn around at Hermit Lake, they have to finish with you. And we do communicate between T2 and the summit. So if you're gonna take somebody up, we're gonna make sure that we note that, so that way Andy knows to expect that person with you. They need to sign a waiver. They don't need to be there Friday night, but they do need to be able to check into T2 before you get there. We'll have some waivers that can be signed. I'll check that backpack as well as yours. And then that person will be able to ride up or hike up with you.
Okay. Headphones, we follow USAT rules. Headphones are not allowed on the bike or on the run.
All right, so,
Can a porter hike down part of the way from the summit?
right, so that would be Hermit Lake would be your turnaround. So that Hermit Lake check-in.
But we were talking
Is that
about
what you're talking about?
headphones. No, we were talking about.
No, we already
headphones.
did that though. We
Oh.
already did that right here. Can porter hike down? You just
Oh,
read-
oh,
you just
no,
read
no,
it.
no, no, what the porter I think is asking, and many porters do this, and family members do this, is they drive up the auto road. They park, and they know that, you know, they have an idea how long it'll take for their athlete to get up to the top. And in case you didn't know, it can be anywhere from, usually it's an hour and a half to 3 hours, possibly 4. And we did have a 4-time Olympian cross-country skier a few years ago who did it in just about an hour and 1 minute. But
Yeah.
that's the current record.
He's been the only one that's done that one. So.
Yeah, for scaling. But yes, we do have family members and porters who go up there and they scamper down the Peppermint trail, which is marked there by one of the parking lots, and they can take a walk and see if they can spot their athlete. It's kind of a fun pastime, and you'll probably see like dozens of people sitting on rocks below the parking lots, just kind of looking and waiting to see. Or you can take the kids to the visitor center where there's, I'm told, great pizza. So.
All right, so so the auto road, I think that they take you're the one that goes up there. They take credit card, the
Yes,
auto road?
yes. Oh, they're all about money.
Okay. And relay team, the relay teams are the way that we kind of built that out with the cost was that you are quartering each other. You can have somebody else, but you'll want to buy a meal for them and a t-shirt. And you don't have to buy a t-shirt, obviously. But yeah, it's usually a nice thing to do. And you want to answer that one about the polls?
Yeah, that is a controversial subject, to use polls or to not use polls. We've tried them both, and I'm not sure if I have a preference.
Yeah, but can they
yeah.
leave them
Can
with
they
somebody
just leave them
else?
with someone else? I don't know. I
Our
guess-
rule has always been whatever you bring, you start with, you have to finish with.
And what I'm worried about is that you're saying, hey, you want some polls? You want some polls? And no one wants polls because the hikers kind of already know how they want to go up. So I think that sounds a little iffy to me. I think if you start, you have to
You
finish.
start, you
with
gotta
it.
finish with it. And you have to carry your own stuff, by the way. So, we had for a while, people would pass their backpack to their porter that was going out with them. They're like, oh, great, I don't have this backpack. You need to carry your own stuff. So if some of our staff sees that you're not carrying your things, then, you know, there could be a penalty involved.
Yeah.
So everyone's gotta carry their own weight, literally.
And we have stationary staff at certain points along the way, but we also have roving staff as well.
Right, and so the roving staff is also, you know, if you need something, you see someone with a Sea to Summit shirt. That, you know, that looks like they've been doing this for a bit and you need something, you're like, geez, I'm out of water. I thought I had enough. They most likely have something with them. They always carry other bits of nutrition. So it might be blocks or goo or something like that. Hopefully they'll have some like pickle juice, some salt tablets. So if you need something along the way, just ask. You'll see the mountain guides that are out there. They'll also be wearing Sea to Summit shirts. So, you know, if you need it, just ask for it. You know, and we're here for you.
And I'm going to mention now because I'm afraid I'll forget it. Often at these athletes meetings, 1 or 2 people say, well, I can decide what nutrition I want to bring with me. I'm experienced, or I know what works well for me. One year we had someone who said, I'm going to do the entire thing on maple syrup. Not kidding. The reason why we have the mix that we put in there, and this is like doctors have been involved and everything else in developing our list, is if it seems a little bit too much to you, consider this possibility. You're on the head wall, you really badly sprain an ankle or a wrist or what have you. You wait, maybe I can get up, you're trying to, and eventually you're like, "Ugh, I'm not going to be able to do it. I'm going to have to hobble back down." And meanwhile, the time is ticking by and you're getting hungrier and hungrier, and you're not getting the taco bar at the bottom because you're still up on the mountain. And our staff is going to assist you, and our staff will have some nutrition, but you need something in your bag that's solid. So I just want to put that out there for those of you who are thinking, well, why can't I just do this entire thing on liquid calories or something along those lines? That's our rationale.
So if, to add to what Andy's saying, if your backpack comes to me, your partner brought this backpack and you've got, you don't have that 800 calories of solid food, then we always have more goo and blocks and all of that. We have some booms, so at least it's natural. I will put that in your pack just to make sure that you've got the 800 calories for exactly what Andy's talking about. Sometimes you end up out there longer than you expected for whatever reason. Maybe it's not even you. I think one year an athlete was like helping somebody else that was climbing down the mountain, and they had like, I don't know, some kind of medical thing. Yeah. And he ended up out there for like an extra, hour longer than he had anticipated. And so then he's depleted because he had kind of planned it all out. So so you never know, and that's why we always say put it in, and if not, I'm going to add it to your pack.
How long does Heidi's medical checks take?
That was the answer. It usually takes a few minutes. For some people, it takes like 2 minutes. She's going to ask you certain questions, like to make sure that you're not dehydrated or other issues. It's not. I know that sounds kind of scary, a medical check. She's not doing a full-on medical check. But she is going to make sure that you are good. If you appear to not be as good as maybe you had hoped to, or your reporter is giving us a look like, please make him sit down or her sit down, then Dr. Heidi will do that. You might have to sit there for a few minutes, kind of get your breath again, take in some hydration or nutrition or what have you until you can go off. So normally it's only a couple minutes. I've seen some people, because of she wasn't ready to send them off yet because they didn't look well enough. That sometimes it might take 10-15 minutes, but count on 2-3 minutes if everything is good. It's pretty quick.
So the earlier question, there's a follow-up on that. So have you decided it's okay if someone leaves their athlete's bike on the back of our HQ vehicle or something along those lines?
I guess it depends on how long it's going to be. Like once we go into the building, we can't, we can't be responsible for someone's bike that is kind of sitting with things.
Throw a bike lock on it just to play it safe, especially if it's an expensive bike these days.
Well, that's true. Like the back of the Winnebago, there's a bumper there, right? So if you bring Blink, if you just bring a bike lock, then you can attach it to the back of our bumper. Just remember it before we take off. Okay.
Vehicle markers for the numbers available.
That is when we do it, as Friday packet pickup. We do not do it race morning. It's crazy and it's dark. So we need to get all those done on Friday.
All right, on the finish, yes, the Tuckerman Ravine Trail ends at the road with the parking lots and the stairs leading to the summit. We want to have you finish at the summit, so those stairs are yours to climb. It can be a little daunting. It's not just a few steps. You climb the stairs and then just head for the summit. You'll see one of our race vehicles with lights going. You'll see the timer, myself, and others. We used to allow the athletes to get right up to the rock pile and touch the summit, and that was the finish of the race. But being that Mount Washington is so popular, not just up with hikers, but people who drive up there, just tourists and people who get on the train on the other side of the mountain. They take the train up there and they're wandering around and they get in line to touch the summit. And sometimes they're very gracious. And then sometimes people are like yelling at the athletes for, well, why, I was in line, why do you think you can just run up and touch the summit? And we'd explain, anyways, it just got to the point after a while, they were like, okay, let's just take the time right below that point, and then you can work your way up to the summit and get a picture, whether it's our race photographer or a friend or family member takes a photo at you touching the summit.
Okay, the porta potties on the bike route, there's lots of places that your porters are going to find along the way that will be a good spot, like nice clean bathrooms for you, or hopefully clean for you to go in. We do not put porta potties along the bike route because remember, it is not a official bike course. It is the most frequented bike route. The route you choose is on your own as long as you avoid 16 and 4. So that would be good for you to scope that out with your porter before you race. And so you're stopping, there's a special K that is, where is that? There's a Dunkin' Donuts across the street and a special K.
Circle K.
Circle K, that's what it is, Circle K. What road is that though? Is that?
Well, that's 153. That's when you're getting close to Wakefield. You're still in Milton or Union, I think, at that point. But it's there is one point where you cross 16, and it's a stoplight, and you really need to follow that stoplight because cars move along on 16, as you may already know. And then right after that intersection is the Circle K, which is a spot where a lot of porters like to stop.
Yeah, they have a parking lot. We're kind of in the back there along there. So usually you see there. So there are other spots you can, go through the map and figure out where you want to or where you expect to want to stop. And then you can meet your porter in that location. Swim start will be a mass start. It might end up being a two wave mass start, if you want to still call that a mass start, but it's usually 50 to 100 of you going at once.
Yeah, we used to have, the race used to have a mass start for many years. And then when it was held in the river, it just was a little too tight. So we split it up into 2 waves. But 100 people starting at once for a long swim, we feel we're going to go back to that now for this year. Makes it easier on the timer, makes it easy for you to see kind of where you are with the field. It makes it easier to lifeguard. There's lots of positives, and 100 people is not that bad. I've been in the triathlon racing long enough to remember having hundreds of people around me or more. So this is not, I don't think this will be a bad experience.
Okay. There was a question about clean water at Hermit Lake. Thank you for answering that, Ryan. Yep, there's a really great like spring, like you pump it, and there's water. There's usually a line there though.
Just
so
say you're racing and people will 90% of the time will say, "Oh, come on," and let you get your water and get off on your way.
Justin, yes, gels do count for solid. So what is not, what doesn't count is, oh, I've put this in my bike bottle. So I need to be able to see on the package that, how many calories it is. That will save a lot of time.
Or a flask. I don't know if that many people bring bike bottles up the mountain.
Yeah, no, right, yeah.
Really?
That's
Oh,
even
okay.
the thing. Yeah, or flasks, either way. So the question Kendra asked about the hydration packs often are 34 milliliters. That's fine. That's close enough.
Someone else asked that question by email last week, so it must be the same brand, but that's good enough.
That's no worries about that. oh, well, thank you, Michael Nicholson went ahead and bought up one of those soft flasks. I like those too.
The little soft ones are kind of neat if you just want to like grab something quick at points and you don't want to pull the whole thing out. Well, actually, I guess if you have it as part of your vest, it doesn't
You're still
matter.
stuck with
Yeah,
it, but
yeah.
you could carry it, yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so the other question about two porters in the same vehicle, no problem at all. Sometimes you have that, sometimes it's one porter with two athletes. Either way, we're gonna mark the number on whatever vehicle is gonna be a part of the race.
I presume you've already sorted out with the athletes the fact that one athlete's misfortune, not feeling well, not doing too well, having a mechanical, whatever the case might be, could affect the other athlete in the race. So
We've seen that.
yeah,
It's not fun. The porters, you can, if you're going up with your athlete, you can leave your car in the parking lot, obviously lock it. You know, if you're riding with somebody else, sometimes some other racers are like, hey, we got room in our car. Otherwise, sometimes the van is cooperative. There's a van that goes back and forth that can take you down.
Okay.
All right.
That's it.
And that's it. Yeah, but you know what I do want to note, so wait, we had a comment here about the water at Hermit. So, you know, we were talking about like, oh, yeah, 36 milliliters. If it's 34, okay, that's fine. And you think like, oh, that's a lot of water for me to take up. But Kevin had commented in the back and forth about the water at Hermit Lake, and he's like, that was a lifesaver. So you do go through more water than you expect there. So just want you guys to be aware of that.
And also, as we mentioned earlier, there are no aid stations per se on the mountain. That's too difficult because everything has to be hand carried. But we do have our staff and our professional mountain guides who are up there. They all bring backpacks stuffed full of gels and that sort of thing. And it's always like, oh, this is just in case of emergency or in case, you know, who knows what's going to happen out there. Maybe it's a really hot or really bad day. And they usually go through most of them.
Yeah.
They
usually
give out
do,
most of them
right,
because of athletes who
Yeah.
need more than what we've asked them to put in their backpack. There was snow last month. We'll find out this week if
Oh,
there's
there was,
snow
I
up
think
there.
Jeff was up and he said the snow was gone.
It's gone
Jeff
now.
Smith, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
So, so it should be clear, at least not on the trail itself. I think he said that he could see some snow like in patches off the trail, but the trail, Tuckerman's is snow free. So we used to have the race earlier in the summer and it was always a question of like, shoot, is there gonna be snow out there? But so far, not this late in July.
Okay, sure, go ahead and unmute.
Yeah, go ahead,
Ask your
Brett.
question.
So the question is, it's a little complicated because, so I'm doing this with my brother, who's also on the call, and my wife is my porter. Our sister is his porter. My sister is planning to drive our van up and bring down the athletes, myself and him, and we also have other family who are planning to hike the mountain that day, whether they show up at Wildcat or they're going to be independent on their own as a group. So they may show up at Wildcat and check in, but they may not. So I'm assuming they are not part of this event at all and do not need to check in with you or carry anything or they have no part of this.
Right, if they're going on their own, then that's fine, you know, like,
That's fine, right?
Yeah, that's fine. But if they're going with you, then they become a part of the race.
Can my porter, can my brother's porter, my sister, become my porter from T2 on, and my wife, who's going to be my porter, abandon me and go with the other group?
Oh geez, now that's too complicated.
I know, that's why I didn't want to type this. Because she's a very competent fast hiker, but she may not keep up with me.
Okay.
So that's where the complication is.
You know what, if at T2, if she reminds me of this conversation, then we'll know, okay, anything happens to Brett, we're gonna contact his sister and not his wife.
Good.
Yeah,
So
I
just
think,
let me know.
that makes sense. And then just as far as if you do have family members who want to just, you know, I could see that, want to go for a hike knowing it's going to be a while before they see you. as long as their departure time is different from yours, then they're just like a member of the public who's out
Got
there
it.
on the mountain. And speaking of which, the mountain, the trail most likely will be crowded. And I'm looking at the weather forecast, and it looks like it's going to be a warm day next Saturday. Thankfully, doesn't seem to be rain or thunderstorms in the forecast at this point. But they become the race's biggest fans once they start realizing, oh, you know, this is a race. They've got numbers and everything else. And so just from a it's always nice to hear people cheering you on or shouting encouragement and support, and you'll get plenty of that while you're up on the mountain.
So
Sounds
that
great.
reminds me of the porters, the
Mhm.
same thing. Porters, you all have a big responsibility, but you also are gonna have the best time ever out there. So it's, you know, it's the races for the athletes, but it's your support that really gets them through. So you know, cheer on everybody. You're gonna get to know people like other porters from the race, because you all end up kind of stopping at the same places and talk to each other. And, you know, we've had like lifelong friendships start at, you know, by people portering. So, so it's really been a neat experience. And at Wildcat, bring some things to do, because you tend to be there for a little bit, whether it's before your athlete, you know, gets there, or after the athlete, you know, your athlete goes on to the hike, and you know he's going to take or she's going to take 3 hours. Well, hang out at Wildcat for a while if you want to before you go up to the top. Bring a beach ball, bring baseball, whatever you want to do. It's always fun to you know, have other people there and everyone's cheering on everybody. So it is a really great day for everybody, for athletes. You know, we've heard from a number of athletes that it was a life-changing event. So I hope that that's the case for you in the most positive way ever. And for your support staff, that, you know, that you have this opportunity to, you know, to bond with each other, bond with other people, and just have a wonderful day. So we're looking forward to seeing you all Friday, 4 to 6, so that way you can check in, and then of course Saturday morning. Anything else?
Good. Any other questions?
Let's see. I
That's it.
think that's where we are. Okay. Well, thank you all so much for being on. We will, we'll see you very soon.